Good morning. Good morning.
On dot,
Good morning.
Dr. Ramesh.
Yes.
We'll start the program on dot at 10.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Hello and welcome. I'm your moderator, Ramesh. Thank you for taking the time to join us today as we talk about role of institute social responsibility in community development. May this day bring to you many things to be grateful for. The prayer is the key for refreshing us. So now, I would like to invite Dr. Nanasaranya, guest faculty, Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, GRI for the prayer song.
Om Mata Shri Mata, Om Mata Shri Mata, Om Shri Mata Jahan Mata, Om Shri Mata Jahan Mata, Om Nada Shri Nada, Om Nada Shri Nada, Om Shri Nada Jahan Nada, Om Shri Nada Jagannatha, Om Mada Shri Mata, Om Mata Jagannatha, Om Nada Shri Nata, Om Shri Nata Guru Nata, Om Shanti 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 Om.
Thank you, madam, for your warmest prayer song.
Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Helen Killer. We have Professor Raja, Dean, School of Health Sciences and Rural Development, Gandhigram Rural Institute, and President, Indian Adult Education Association, New Delhi. May I request Professor to deliver the welcome address on this occasion.
Good morning to all of you. Namaste, especially for Nihar Mishra ji.
Namaskar.
And Dr. Rajesh. And there are very distinguished personalities who have joined in this very important event. Namaste and Vanakkam to all. It gives me an immense pleasure today that various institutions like Indian Adult Education Association, Tamil Nadu Open University Chennai, University of Delhi, and the Gandhigram Rural University. We all jointly, we are organizing this webinar on a very important topic today, the role of Institute Social Responsibility, ISR, in community engagement or community development. Because the role of university or the higher education institutions has got a very greater role to play in this, because the higher educations are supposed to be the role model for the community engagement, for the community development. Anything that has to be developed from the grassroots level. At the same time, we have to have the vertical mobility and horizontal mobility also. Here in this context, I welcome all the dignitaries, especially today's functionaries and the chief guest who is going to deliver the speech, Dr. Nigar Ranjan Mishra is an anthropologist, a Department of Humanities and Social Science, National Institute of Technology, NIT, Roorkee, Orissa. Now all the roads leads to Orissa because the new candidate, the president, incoming, president has been announced. So all the roads leads to Odisha. So and in this context, today we are starting this webinar with the Orissa man and Mishra ji. आपको बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आप हमारा इनविटेशन के एक्सेप्ट किया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. In this webinar today, the distinguished professor and a very, very dynamic personality, Dr. Rajesh, professor and head of the Department of Adult and Continuing Education, University of Delhi. And he has been doing a tremendous work in the capital of India, in Delhi. Delhi University is known for producing not only the intellectuals, but also stalwarts like many distinguished personalities. So I welcome you, sir, Dr. Rajesh, sir, on this very happy occasion. And also the director of Indian Adult Education Association, Mrs. Kalpana, she's the director. She has also joined us to propose a vote of thanks. So I welcome Dr. Mrs. Kalpana Kausik for this wonderful occasion. Now I also welcome Dr. Ramesh Gnana Saranya, Dr. R. Venkatarami. He is the program coordinator. Not only that, he is the key pin and he is coordinating the entire webinar activities in our department. And both Kalpana Kausik and Venkataravi, they are really making this event more successful and memorable. And also, I welcome Dr. Murugeshan, is the director, NIRD, Guwahati, Assam, and he also joined us. So there are people from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and there are people from Odisha, the northeast to west. So we have many distinguished personalities all over India, and also shortly other person also will be joining. And under the YouTube, many they have already joined, and they are really doing, and they are waiting for Mr. Dr. Nishar Ranjan Mishra's lecture. See, when I talk about the role of institute or social responsibility, I have a few things to share. Number one, any institutions should or would have the great responsibility to take care of the human development. Because once you develop a integrated human development, that human resource and human activities and human assets will be able to bring lot of changes in the society. See, why we are making this human development and overall development of the humanity? Because all this development starts from the grassroots level. We all, as you know, that we are all from the village, but at the same time, we have got the responsibility. The institution has got the responsibility to deliver the goods back to the society, back to the community. Community, when you say that a teaching community or the tribal community or a backward community and a very well developed community. So there are many kinds of community sections and divisions and deviations are there. But at the same time, when we say community as a whole, community is one. Community is one. Why we say that it is a humanity? Community, when we talk about the community, is a humanity. So being an anthropologist, he would be able to bring a lot of inputs when I say that the community, and he would be able to bring a lot of inputs. But when I think of these institutions' responsibility, institution has to have and to develop the qualitative changes in the humanity. It's not the quantitative. How many men and how many persons you have developed, not in the number, but in the quality. Quality, makes the difference. The qualitative change, the institution has to have that responsibility, number one. And the institution has to develop the educational development on three aspects. One is employable skills, empowering, and also engagement. So when we talk about engagement, knowledge, empowering the attitudes, and employment skills. So in order to make the society or the community development, education is the only via media, and education is the only key to develop the community. In order to develop the community, these three aspects, like creating a good attitude, creating a good knowledge, creating a good skill, it's very, very important for the community to develop. So the institution has got the greater responsibility to provide education, but that education should have all these components and the attitude, good knowledge, and good skill. It's not only the merely skill, but good skill. So this will help the person to change the qualitative. So for that, we have been engaging, the Gandhigram Rural Institute is engaging, it is an institution, and it itself has the grassroots level development. And we are engaging in three important areas. Number one, experimental learning, or in other ways, it is called experiencing learning. And number two, transformative learning, transforming the persons from ill to nil, from illiterate to literate, from poverty stricken to no poverty or nil poverty, from economically deprived to economically uplift. So the experiential learning and transformative learning and technological learning. These three things are very, very important for the institutions to have the responsibility to cater the needs of the community. So all these experimental or experiencing, transformative, and also technological. So these three things are very, very important and essential for the institutions to cater the needs of, because the need is going on changing. It is not a static, it is a dynamic one. So according to the needs, the institution also has to change its vigor, to change the strategies. The institution has to change the responsibilities, and the institution has to change and to acquire the quality, not only the quality, and also credibility. When you say that, in India, this institution is one of the very pioneering institution, that means that institute, when you say that, Nirma, and also, various ITs and various universities in India and various universities in elsewhere in throughout the world, but they have got a good name. It is because of their qualitative changes. They have made qualitative changes in the society. They made qualitative changes in the learners. They have made the qualitative change in the community. So that is why an institution has got a very good ethos and legacy and values and good quality. That means they are really working very hard to establish this community as a very well-developed community. So India is known for that, and we have been developing from the bottom to up approach. And as Mahatma Gandhi always says, that it's not the pyramidal approach, it is the bottom. So we have to have a very larger shoulder to carry the responsibility and also transform the society through this knowledge, good attitude, and good skill. So with this, few of my sharing and my thoughts, and I once again, I welcome, Dr. Rajesh and Dr. Nigas Ranjan Misra ji, Mrs. Kalpana Kausik, and Ramesh and Jnana Saranya, and Dr. Venkat Ravi. And all the dignitaries who have already joined in our webinar, and we welcome all the research scholars, students, and the well-known person and personalities who have joined in this morning. So, and I wish all of you to have a good health, and also I am happy that Dr. Nigar Ranjan Misra from Odisha, he is going to deliver his wonderful speech, and we all will be greatly benefited by his lecture. And now I conclude my welcome address. Thank you very much once again to all of you. Over to Dr. Ramesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Raja, for your warm welcoming our dignitaries and all. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. Now, we have a versatile personality, Dr. Rajesh, Professor and Head, Department of Adult Continuing Education, University of Delhi, New Delhi, and a well-known personality in the field of adult education and community development and its related field. It's our privilege to have your presence and thoughts on this important occasion. May I request Dr. Rajesh to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I welcome the series today organized by Gandhigram Rural Institute, Tamil Nadu Open University, Indian Adult Education Association, and V2 Delhi University. This is a very good series, and once it is started from Gandhigram Rural Institute, from the institute where the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, and when we are speaking before the dignitaries and waiting for the special session to be organized, we remember the great father of the nation, that is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who was a true spirit, a live example of, social service, community development, not only in lecture session, but in his entire personality. So today we are speaking from that spirit. Yesterday in University of Delhi, when we were having a skill building program for the third gender community, where more than 300 from the various parts of the country came for exhibition, cultural activities. They represented the community, and they have given the diverse view on the community engagement as an institutional social responsibility. Universities, colleges, educational institutions, or any institution is not the ivory tower. It is the part and parcel of the society. And time and again, we used to say, we are paid by our society and community. Whatever the penny we are getting, either in terms of salary, either in terms of social service, that money comes from the society, community at large. So it is our greater responsibility as a institutional people to pay back to the society and community at large. And we are very happy that the National Education Policy 2020 announce the first policy in the 21st century has really integrated curricular and co-curricular activities together. We become very happy to see that under the 4-year undergraduate program, which is the part and parcel of national education policy, that integrates community mobilization at least in 3 semesters at the undergraduate level. So the curriculum activity that the University Grants Commission was talking since 1977, extension as third dimension, and also were talking that those who were doing the adult education, community education, other social services must be integrated in their credit, in their marks, had become for the first time success through the National Education Policy 2020. So it is the example of the institutional social responsibility. We all, as an educational person, face National Accreditation Council. And whenever we face the National Accreditation Assessment Council, we are told you have to separately show the activities and programs of institutional social responsibility. We try to color the pictures of our social responsibility. In the centenary year, we also have an additional responsibility of educational awareness, where as part of university community interface, we have started going to the community and assess the need of various people, various target people at large. We remember the I camp organized in Anna Nagar community, in IAEA, the community need assessment activities that organized, the institutional social responsibility also reminds us, sir, madam, that, the COVID-19, where we were suffering, continued to suffer for 2 and more years, we were not allowed to come. There are several researches that are coming that the mental health of the community, people of the society has suffered a lot. Is it the fact? It was said that the domestic violence against the women increased during the COVID period. The workload of the women increased during the COVID period. Is it the fact? So what is required that the researches, the teaching that Professor Raja was talking should not be divorced from the society, from the institutional social responsibility. It is very much integrated. The fruits of the various researches, I remind a professor of zoology was talking, Rajesh, when we use the water which is in the tank and kept, in such a situation that might have very harmful for us. So she was talking about the researches that we are happening. We all know that how much we are damaging to our environment. Yesterday I have seen the newspaper Talks Times of India that those who are living in Delhi have less 10 years life than the other cities, Gandhigram or other places. Why? Because we are degenerating, destroying our environment. We are destroying the carrying capacity on the earth, which we used to talk about our environment and everything. Who will discuss about that in a small, kind of a things to the community people? So the students who are coming to various institutions, they must be taught. The researchers must be given starting from the values about the generation that the national education policy talks about, that once we talk about the family, the elder generation, like your grandfather, grandmother, is the part and parcel of the society. You do not understand that the, family means wife, husband, and children. The greater, responsibility of the younger generation, understanding the role of the elderly population, understanding the social and caste, dynamics, everybody getting the equal opportunity in a society. Who will do that? It is our duty that not only to talk, but to go into the community at large and work for their social, cultural, family development, and making each and every person happy. That we all understand that the happiness index, Professor Raja, where we are currently there, India as a part. So making the community people, making the society at a large happy, and talking Gandhiji and other people that we have enough for our need. We have enough for our need, but we do not have enough for our greed. That should be the approach for our institutional social responsibility. And it is not a very big challenge. It is possible. But the need is that we have to come together to work for that. The last point that I will speak before the session starts, I always assume that the institutions where we are sitting and the salaries from where we are getting from the society at large, it should be like the hospital. It should not be closed, because the institution where the society is giving, we must do something for the recognition of their prior learning, for skilling, for vocationalization. Giving the jobs, giving the skills is not the responsibility of the government only. We should not shy away from our responsibility. It is our responsibility as a teacher, as a guru. And unless we again come into the Gurukul system, where the teacher and student coming together, going to the community or the society at large, the ethos of the national education policy talking about, unless we have that vision and mission, our success will remain, not complete. So a very good topic, and I congratulate the organization, and I understand this is the time for action, and I am also very actively part and parcel of that endeavor. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, G. It was indeed a very good start, and you have really mentioned about the responsibility of the higher education institutions, especially like a hospital, 24 hours, 7 into 24 hours, we are all ready to serve the society. And it is our responsibility, because we are all earning money from the taxpayers and the poor people and the last man of the society. So also you mentioned about the needs and the greeds, as Mahatma Gandhi suggested and advocated. So you touched upon a very important point, sir, as you have been doing as an action person. And also this combination of these 4 institutions itself has got the greater responsibility. Like, Indian Adult Education Association has got the greater responsibility of organizing seminar and conferences, and, disseminating the knowledge, pooling all the resources from everybody's from the nook and corner of India through the journals and the newsletters. Also doing some kind of work, as Dr. Rajesh mentioned, in Delhi, the slum areas, and evaluations and all these things the Indian Adult Education Association is doing for the community. And the Tamil Nadu Open University has got the greater role and the responsibility to offer the needy people, those who are unable to continue their studies, dropouts and pass out students. For them, the Tamil Nadu Open University has got the greater responsibility and doing it very nicely. And the Delhi University is under the leadership of especially Dr. Rajesh, is doing variety of activities for, especially for the community, and doing research on various aspects for community engagement and so on and so forth. And lastly, Gandhigram University is well known for community development, shaping the community for taking the country and for marching forward towards powerless. And then, the rich, reaching the unreached people. So with this, I requested Dr. Ramesh to go ahead, and I am really grateful to Dr. Rajesh sir for having accepted our invitations and delivered the presidential address. Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Thank you, Professor Rajesh and Professor Raja, for your words and giving wonderful insight on this topic. There is immense pleasure and power when a group of people with similar interests gets together to work toward the same goals. Now we have a resource person, Dr. Nihar Ranjan Mishra, Associate Professor of Anthropology, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, Odisha, with us. He is a well-known person in the field of anthropology and the community development studies. It is our privilege, sir, to have your presence on this occasion and to have your thoughts on this important occasion. So we request Dr. R. Venkatravi, Associate Professor, Department of Lifelong Learning and Extension, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Gandhigram, to introduce the speaker of the hour.
Over to Dr. Venkat Ravi.
Yes, very good morning to all. Very good morning to all. And it gives me what I call not only pleasure, and it is my responsibility to introduce my old friend and an anthropology turned sociologist, Dr. Nihar Ranjan Mishra, happened to be the what I call the rank holder of sociology department in Hyderabad University, and he joined with us in the Council for Social Development, and we were colleagues. After that, he has been continuously taking up projects, action oriented, and also research projects with the funding of Planning Commission, DST, and ICSSR. And I still remember that we both have appeared in the same year for seeking the financial assistance from ICSSR, and we both were in a group and both were approved, and it is in my memory. And interestingly, his studies also got published as a book, and my study which I have taken also got published. So it goes, my association with Mishra goes for more than 2 decades, and he's a very active academician. He's a I would say it's not a platform. I cannot say that he's an activist, but he's also an activist when it comes in the form of protecting the right of the tribals as an social anthropologist. And he's a very what I call a serious writer, and also there is very serious person when it becomes a classwork. And I have seen him, and even in the field also he is a field marshal. Always in Council for Social Development, we used to call Mishra. We had 2 Mishra, and we had Nihar Ranjan Mishra. Always I used to call you are a field marshal, because he used to lead. So now it has it becomes befitting to one person like Nihar Ranjan Mishra, who can talk very well about what is the social responsibility of an institution. See, it is not only that he was a student leader in Hyderabad Central University, and after that he was with the Council for Social Development doing a lot of research work on all these things. Now he was also very active in the NIT Rourkela, where he was also occupied a very senior position called Associate Dean of Social Sciences and Humanities. During that period, he has revamped so many things, and it's very interesting personality. And this is not the time to go into nut and bolts of how we work together, but he is a national level figure, one who can talk very well about what needs to be done under the institutional social responsibility, because he had an experience of working with the university, research institute, and a science and technology based institute. So that becomes a catchy point. So, and he has a lot of papers published, and he has been consulting with the Planning Commission, DST, and also he was an awardee of Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial Scholarship. He was an associate of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Simla. So he has a lot of credit, only one or two backs is not enough to bundle it and carry forward. So such an eminent person, and we jointly, that is an Indian Adult Education Association, Gandhigram Rural Institute, Tamil Nadu Open University, and Delhi University, we are happy to have Professor Nikaranjan Mishra online on the platform for delivering a special lecture on institutional responsibility for community development. May I have online Professor Mishra ji? Wish you all
Thank
the
you.
best. Thank you, Mishra ji.
Thank you, Ravi sir, and also I thanks all the dignitaries present here. It is really a great privilege to address to all the great people and intellectuals. And what Ravi sir told, we had a very good kind of timing when I worked in CSD, then NIRD. Almost I spent around 15 to 16 years at Hyderabad. In 2009, I joined at NIT. And more specifically, though I am an academic institute and working, but from the very childhood, I'm more or less engaged with rural communities by interest, by profession. And when we are talking about today, the role of social institution or role of institution in, or the role of institution in social responsibility, it is highly pertinent to know exactly what exactly the higher education institute is supposed to do, and where we have to work, and what exactly the problems also we are facing. Because you see, the government may impose lots of things to do, but we have to think about the reality. But what exactly we are talking today, that is very, very important. See, all of us know that the educational institution specifically plays a very kind of vital role in the development sector. Because if you look into today, the prominent issue in front of all of us is how to build a good human beings. When somebody becomes the top in any class, and when they interact with the media, they immediately told that I want to be a doctor, I want to be an IS officer, I want to be an engineer, but nobody tells that I want to be good human beings, which is missing in the contemporary days. So it is only the educational institution which can rebuild the nation, emphasizing that yes, we can build the students, we can build the community who will produce crores and crores good human beings. So this is the core philosophy of the role of institution in social, or the role of institution in the context of social responsibility. Because it is not that we should not only confine ourselves to the domain of teaching and research, because we have to shift ourselves from the lab to the field. Because unless and until the product produced in the lab is not fit to the needs of the community, is not fit to the requirement of the localites, we are not moving in the right direction. Last week, I was just interacting with some of the farmers. I was doing an evaluation study for the Vedanta, campaigning, they are having a project on agriculture. See, lots of people ask me, sir, we are having very serious issue that monkeys are destroying our crops. Can you produce some kind of humans which are very low cost, which will fulfill our requirement, which can save our crops? The similar thinking, the similar experience I had when I worked in Adilabad. See, why not we think about the producing some kind of scientific equipments which in any domain which will fulfill the real requirement of the public, real requirement of the people living at the grassroots. And who can make it? See, since till 2009, in India specifically, we have never thought of because when we tell about social responsibility, we thought it is corporate social responsibility. We have never thought of that there is a huge role of an academic institute, an university, and IITs, NITs, means all kind of research and teaching institute. They are the pioneer who can bring the real change in the society. Why we thought today? So we have large number of youths we have with us, that the real people who can really build the Atmanirbhar Bharat. When we are speaking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, it will be only possible if we bring a massive transformation in the society, specifically taking the youths into account. When we bring the youth into the major platform, when we really energize the youth, when we really instigate the youth to come forward and looked in the matter, then things can be changed and the transformation in the society can be realized. The another very kind of pertinent things we have to think about. You see, look into, just to think about as a teacher, how the ethics is missing in the contemporary days. The ethic is missing among the students. The ethic is missing among us. The ethics is missing among the communities. So only the educational institute can rebuild, can mix the ethics into the development. So the higher educational institution can rebuild the nation by injecting the ethics in the minds of the peoples, in the minds of the community, in the minds of the students. So we have to be very much careful about that, and through that the society can grow. See, if you look at any higher educational institution, we have a large number of stakeholders. We have huge students with us. We have huge kind of we have the either the government facilities or the private. It is a private university. Now we have a kind of trustee, or we have a management. We have lots of employees, both teaching and non-teaching staffs, and we have huge alumni. We have lots of stakeholders with us. We have parents. We have different unions. We have management. We have also the different kind of other committees who are the stakeholders. So we should very kind of technically think about that, what exactly a higher educational institution, a university can contribute to the bringing the transformation in the society. So looked into that, it is high time that we have to come from a kind of stereotype of kind of thinking, that we should not confine ourselves that our role and responsibility is only teaching. No, it is my responsibility. It is the responsibility of all of us, whether I'm a student, whether I'm a teacher, whether I'm a non-teaching staff, doesn't matter. As a part of this academia, as a part of this academic institute, it is my responsibility to think about that in what way I can contribute. How to, because we have to be very realistic, because unless until we become a very realistic, we cannot bring a real transformation in the society. See, this is the major problem we're having, because you see, we have to think about very practical things. You see, suppose looked into, when I was a kind of doing lots of projects, and specifically I still remember what Ravi sir was telling, that when I was working in the CST, we had a sanction, we got a very big project of sponsored by Planning Commission. So Then it was in the 12 states and covering most of the Naxal affected states also. And that time I was that time I just got married and then back to the kind of my institute. Then immediately nobody was agreed to go to the Naxal areas. And I was given the responsibility by the director that, Professor Watt, he told me you have to go to these areas as an anthropologist. Then I told, no issues, sir. So you see that the moment I had lots of experience of working at Meghalaya. I stayed around more than 1 year and I visited each and every village of Meghalaya. I worked in other parts of Northeast also. See, even when I was working in all Naxal affected districts, I got a good exposure also to the field and saw the real situation at the grassroots level. So you see, why not an institute? Why not an university? Can really bring transparency. You see, today the government is spending huge money in unreachable areas. The government is trying to mobilize the peoples, trying to convince the people. You see, all the problems. You should look into the Kashmir issues. The Kashmir whatever issues are happening also. If the educational institute will really involve, the almost all the problem of the society will be resolved, because they are the people who are having the knowledge. They are the people, you see, who is more accepted by the society, with the teachers who are more accepted by the community. See, suppose we are working in a particular area. Once we are working in a particular area, it is the teachers, it is the students, belongs to that institute, it is the staff. They are mostly accepted, that mostly the eminent personalities in that locality. I may not have any kind of connection in Tamil Nadu, but the area where I'm working, I have a reputation, I have a connection. So that's why the people usually accept the staffs and faculties and students who are part of this education institution. So, and that will be easy for us to involve ourselves, to link the field to the lab. See, it is not that kind of the social responsibility emerges specifically reconsidering the social relevance in the society, and the looked into now the nation has entered into a competitiveness. So when the nation is entered into a competitiveness, when we all are emphasizing on entrepreneurship, when we all are emphasizing on Atmanirbhar Bharat, so only it can be realized when we all think of that we should not only confine ourselves to the four walls of an university, rather we should be multifunctional, we should be dynamic in our activities, and we should be more convincing, and we should think about that the knowledge is no more confining to the four walls of the university. Rather, the knowledge should be shared, the knowledge should be because see, we all know that the moment we share the knowledge expands. It is an Indian Hindu philosophy. The moment we share the knowledge expands. It is the time has come that we should look into this kind of area. We should look into the possibility where the knowledge can be linked to the global knowledge. And once the global knowledge is being linked, so then what will happen? The global challenges can be addressed. We have lots of issues in the contemporary days. We have food security issues, we have climate change issues, we have water management issues, we have kind of intercultural dialogue is happening, we have energy issue, we have health issue. You see, lots of issues are coming up. And you see, just 2 days back we spent the International Yoga Day also. Because you see, how you see, if and looked into the difference between us, I'm not blaming somebody, looked at the difference between an educational institution and NGOs. See, NGO is having human power, but lagging with knowledge. Looked into the educational institution having the knowledge, having the human power, maybe we have little bit less of time in comparison to the NGO. So why don't we think about a kind of multi-stakeholder collaboration, so that the NGO, academia, and public can come together, and we all together can bring the real transformation in this country, so that the real development can be realized. See, it is high time all the educational institute should come out from this traditional stereotype of thinking that we are the educational institution. I only confine myself to teaching and research. See how my research will sharpen if I am really engaged with the public, if I'm really, see how many looked into, I'm telling the very truth because we have to accept sometimes the truth. See, most of the time we are doing the research, we are getting lots of projects, and specifically we worked on tribal, marginal communities, slum area, Dalits and all. So you see what exactly happening? We are using all this concept and sustainability and all to get a project. But what exactly happening? Are this project report is really transferred to the grassroots level? Very critically we have to think about it. It is high time we have to think very critically that whether my research outcome is really reflected in the grassroots or not. Because if my research product is not in the form of rural engagement, then there is no value. And how many professors are really going to the field? How many of them are going really to the field? So this is also we have to think about that actually how much we are involved in the field work and how really, see, we are sending only staffs, field investigator, collecting data, writing report. It should not. It should not. See, because you see the thinking we have, the knowledge we have, if you go to the grassroots level, our understanding to society, our perception to the society is much higher than others. So that's why we should be much more involved. So you see, let us come into the very other aspect that what exactly we're supposed to do. That see, it is high time that we should think about the Kutumbam, which is our cultural philosophy. Our teaching and research should not only be confining to our lab and classroom and all. So we should be very much think about the grassroots people who are really the sufferer and how we can bring this grassroots people to the mainstream. See, then the real issues come that see, we can speak so many things, but what exactly the reality has to happen and what we're supposed to do. See, as an authority of any, because there are directors, vice chancellors are sitting here. See, so what I'm telling, as an authority, as a dean or any head of the department, so we all having the responsibility. As a head of the institution, they should first do a kind of brainstorming among all the stakeholders. First the brainstorming we have to do because it is high time. It is not that we should not only think about, see what exactly the reality is happening. The UGC is forcing, it is a domain. So now the new education policy is also compelling that in 2022 when in January it is revised also. It also very it also told that we have to be very carefully use this concept of rural engagement and all. So what I'm telling here, you see that we should be kind of very much kind of interesting and we should be very much kind of involved. The authority has to do a faster brainstorming among all the stakeholders. Then once you do the brainstorming among all the stakeholders, then what will happen? Then we can understand that exactly what will be the role of various stakeholders in resolving the different issues, bringing the real linkage at the grassroots. So then once we do a brainstorming, we'll understand the role of various stakeholders. So through that, we can have we can understand that how I can contribute. Suppose we are working in a technical institute. Suppose in a university, there are science, social science, humanities, different kind of domains are there. See, it is not because you see, when we are telling social responsibility, the generally do you know that what exactly the conception is being developed in our mind? It is as if only it is the duty of social scientists. No, it is not like that. Because we see we are living in a society, we are living in an era where even our educational policy, new educational policy is giving emphasis on interdisciplinary. Here, there should be a convergence. There should be a clear-cut convergence between the disciplines. It is not that only the domain of social scientists to do the social responsibility. It is the responsibility of all. See, I can, as a social science faculty, I can provide the reality. What is exactly the requirement? What is the need? See, we are always, since centuries, we are telling community participation, we are always telling need assessment. But what exactly happening? Are we really thinking about need assessment? Are we really doing the need assessment? Are we really doing the community participation? This is very essential. So as an educational institute, we have to give much emphasis on need assessment. We have to, and once we do the brainstorming, then we can identify, see, whether it is a student, whether a staff, whether faculty, there are, once we do a brainstorming among our stakeholders in our institute or university, you'll see that there are two category people immediately you can demarcate. One will be so moto, very active, having real interest to contribute to the society. Then the second group will be who are by compel, that authority is telling I will do. Some people, okay, I want to be close to the power, okay, I will be engaged. There are 2-3 category people you will identify. Means first you can identify those people who are energetic, have a real interest to work for the community, who really can go and stay with the villages. Why not? Why not every university is starting an internship that you go and stay 1 month at the village, local village, you go and stay. You look into have a knowledge like Bharat Darshan, all kind of tourism. And why not we are starting, the university is starting the rural tourism. Let us make it mandatory that all the, at least the postgraduate students, whether it is science, social science, humanity, doesn't matter. Let them spend at least 10 days, they can go and stay in the grassroots level. Because you see, when I'll make, if I'm not having any realization of hungriness, so I cannot make a real plan for the hungry people. So if you see, in my class, when I ask the students, how many of you have seen the the villages? Most of them tell, no, I have not seen the villages. So think about, means it is not the question of villages or slum or urban and all. We want an inclusive growth. We want a kind of inclusive growth, whether it is rural, tribal, urban, the areas surrounding to any kind of educational institution or university should be developed. And it is the responsibility of all the educational institution, university, that they should contribute massively for the development of the areas nearby to them. Through that, what will happen? Because you see, the government cannot bring the real development. We have school, we have colleges throughout the country. In each and every corner, we have educational institutions and universities. If all educational institutions, universities dedicatedly engage themselves in thinking bringing the real development in the society, then the real transformation will be held. Unless and until we thought, it will be never held. So once the brainstorming is over among all the stakeholders, and once we identify the leaders who will work, the categories who will work out how we can contribute to society. And then social scientist, how I'll contribute, how a professor of chemistry will contribute, how a professor of physics will contribute, how a professor of mechanical engineering will contribute. How, means the society needs the skill, the society needs the knowledge, the society is having the knowledge. As a social scientist, I can document the knowledge. It is not that the local peoples are not having knowledge. See, there are lots of traditional knowledges. We are missing that. We are not documenting. We are not documenting. We have missed that. It is high time. If you are not documenting those knowledges, time will come that knowledge will go. I'll tell you, I'm part of this institute, also the Innovation Center. I'm doing startup and all. I'll come to that also, entrepreneurship and all. You see, it is high time. We have to document the various innovative ideas developed by the youths living in the very rural and tribal regions very adjacent to your local lives also. So means through that, if you document those knowledges, we can encourage them. There are lots of the peoples, lots of the students, lots of the kind of poor peoples, they have a different kind of ideas, different kind of knowledges, but due to lack of collaboration, lack of support, lack of assistance, lack of encouragement, they are not coming out. Rather, they are the real more intellectual than us, but because of lack of all these supports, they are becoming the kind of uh, uh, less intellectual to us in the domain of others. But in reality, they are much more intellectual, much more talented than us also. But we have to identify them. We have to identify the requirement. We have to identify the skill. You see, I'll tell you another example. Suppose you see, now looked into that in different development project, what is exactly happening in our country? Anybody is against the development? No, not a single person is against any development. But you see, whether in the name of this land acquisition and all, we are always having strike, hangama and all, the development projects are held up. We are not able to realize, looked into the sense of realization of development. And what we are doing, we are blaming the community. It is not that the community is responsible for that. Rather, the government, the company are responsible because they have not transformed their requirement into the reality. So if the educational institution can help as a model agency which can contribute in transforming this ideas, the requirement into the reality, then most of the unrest can be checked, then the development can be realized. So this is why not we can identify the peoples, what exactly the skill they have, what more skill they require. And if we can identify those things, if you can train those peoples, if you can give a skilled based training to these peoples, then almost all the local people will be highly skilled. So that what will happen? The real development can be realized and they can be fit to any kind of things of development. So more and more kind of educational institution, whether it is private or government, does not matter, should immediately kind of implement the social responsibility strategies into them. So what exactly the next one to do? That once we identify that various aspect of social responsibility, we have to identify the areas of work. What should be the locational things in which what see I should not be very much anxious that we should sometimes what happen, we are becoming very anxious of in the initial phase and we want to bring a remarkable change in the society overnight. With huge anxiousness we adopt lots of villages, at the end of the day we collapse. No, it should not be like that. We should be very much careful because you see I'll tell you that the very realities. See, the pond also. See, come to the very reality things also. Because sometimes what is happening now, we are under pressure. That university is compelling that it should be the part of social responsibility. But you see, we also need some funds for doing these activities. Are the UGC giving very separate kind of fund for this social activities? No, nobody is giving. Means whatever the fund is being allotted to autonomous bodies or universities now, they have to identify some portion of their money which they can spend in the as a part of social responsibility. So means this is also very much kind of challenges. Means what kind of where we'll get the fund, how we can get the fund. But my concern is, you see, regarding the fund, it is not that always we should depend upon the government. We can raise the fund. I'll tell you one example of what I am doing right now. See, there are lots kind of funding agencies. There are lots of kind of industries who are also wants to make collaboration with the academic institutions. Why not our professors doing the research in the different domains? Make a kind of collaboration with those industries, make a collaboration with those funding agencies, And with the collaboration of those industries and funding agencies, they can engage themselves in doing the activities at the grassroots levels. So recently, in Rourkela, we have a Rourkela steel plant. I did a collaboration with the Rourkela steel plant, their CSR divisions, and under the collaboration with the CSR divisions, we got huge amount of money. And in what we were doing, we have told them that you identify the farmers. We are doing on organic farmers. You identify the farmers, specifically the women farmers we are working. You identify the farmers because they have their own affected areas. You identify the farmers, maybe the 1,000 farmers also. In course of time, maybe in the next 4 years, we'll give training to all the farmers living in this locality on organic farming, and we'll monitor them, we'll follow them, we'll also be in touch with them as an academic institute. We'll train them how to do the organic farming. We have lots of faculties having different expertise on organic farming from different angles, and we started also doing science in collaboration with the other science faculties and technical the new development, new technology to the society, and at the same time we are contributing to the society. And what we were contributing, you see, for that we didn't depend upon the government for the fund, the public sector or any industry, they funded. And what we are doing, we are training the localites on organic farmings. The credibility as an educational institution, we are doing social responsibility of contributing to the society. Okay. So means, though fund is a very challenges in front of all universities, educational institutions, but we have to think about that how we can mobilize the fund through that we can work. So this is one of the way that if we can mobilize the funds, because there are different industries, they are also looking for the knowledgeous people because they have the money. And now you see most of the districts also having district mineral funds. We have to think about a convergence, how we can bring a convergence between the government, industry, and educational institutions. Through that, the kind of the convergence of this will help us in bringing the real development. So means we should have even within the institute, we should have a convergence of various departments. We should have a convergence of various institutions, industries living in a locality. Then thereafter, the authority should look into that they should develop, because in the educational institution we have lots of hierarchies which come to the very reality. We have lots of hierarchies. We have assistant professor, we have associate professor, we have professors, we have teaching, non-teaching, we have student, senior student, junior students. We have a completely bureaucratic setup. We have a hierarchical system. We have to come out from that. Because unless and until we come out from this bureaucratic setup and hierarchical system, the real development will be not realized. Because for us, we have to think about integrated approach. We have to think about a holistic development. That will be possible when we look to the requirement of the peoples and when we first make ourselves a dedicated leader who will really love to the society, who will really engage with the society, who will really work for the society. Means I should first identify my role. I should think about how I can establish my relationship with the society. And as a human being, what is my responsibility to the society also? It is not that I should not think about my hierarchy, my position. I'm a teacher, you are a student. It should not be like that. Once we thought of working for the peoples, we should work from a holistic perspective, removing all these hierarchical knowledges and concepts within us, only thinking what should be my role and what should be my responsibility and how I can establish the relationship among all my stakeholders and the community. Because for me, we should think about if the community will grow, then my institute will grow. because we should think about that as an educational institution. Our responsibility is not only to teach students, to build the students. No, our intention, our interest, our main thrust, our main goal is to bring a holistic development in the society, which includes the holistic growth of a student, not only the intellectual, the subject domain of growth, rather a holistic growth of the students, a holistic growth of a community, and a holistic growth of a society, which will be possible once we start loving to the people, working with them, staying with them, respecting them, because the main problem is we never respect. The main problem is that we always feel that means we are more kind of knowledgeous, we are knowledgeable person, they don't have any knowledge. No. When we are going to the community, we should be very much thankful, we should be very much careful that we should first think that they are more knowledgeous than me. Then only the problem will be solved. But the moment I think that I am more knowledgeous than them, then the real problem will be not solved. Because we have to we have to be very kind of submissive, and we have to start listening them, we have to start understanding them. We should develop, because the major problem with us is, as a teacher, we always do all we always speak and all. See, it is not that means we should have a patience to listen. Look into the Gita. See, does Krishna speak anything fast? Arjuna speaking. Then, see, as a teacher also, we should have that kind of patience fast. We should not speak. We should listen to the public. We should listen to the people fast. We should have a patience to listen them. And once we listen them, then only we can start speaking and what to do and not to do. But it's not that always we should impose our ideas, our vision, our knowledge, so then the things will be not realized. Because see, like your Swachh Bharat. See, Swachh Bharat. Why in most of the parts also Swachh Bharat fail? I'm not telling that Swachh Bharat is not success. Swachh Bharat is success. But in some extent, Swachh Bharat has not come to the reality of what exactly we expected. Because we have to, you see, the toilet. The toilet is a cultural concept. It is not that we should understand from that angle also. Toilet is a cultural concept. Because you see, whether I will have a toilet or not, that also I will not decide. My neighbor will also decide. Because go to the rural area, you will see that lots of people are not having even homestead land to stay. Why don't we think about a community toilet there instead of thinking about the own toilets? Then in most of the, because see, the even highly educated peoples, even today, lots of the highly educated peoples, they also not wants to have an attached toilet to their bedroom also. Even in highly educated society also, because they have a cultural notions, the toilet should not be attached to the bed. And when we are speaking about Vastu. But when the localites are speaking, we are telling Bakwas. No, it is not like that. It is a reality that there is a culture which plays a very prominent role. And there are lots of highly educated peoples even in our society who are when they go to the villages and all, you see that they never go to the toilet, rather they go to the riverside and all, but open defecation and all. So how to change their mentality also? How to, because you see, unless and until we change their mentality also, we cannot bring real change in the society also. So there are lots of things. And you see, before giving the water, we constructed the toilets also. See, water fast or toilet fast? If somebody will bring one bucket of water from 100 meters distance to a toilet, so he will feel that why should not I bring some amount of water and go to an open defecation? Why should I carry one bucket of water to this place for going toilets? So look into that. So we should think about very critically. So there are different kind of domains which we should think very critically before bringing any transformation in the society also. Because unless and until we have a very critical outlook, will not bring the real development. Though the educational policy also has making has make a core mission of teaching, research, and research, but also it has also even given more emphasis on service, which reflect that how we can transform this local knowledge to global knowledges, so that we can face all the global challenges. And the purpose of all this educational system is to develop a good human beings who will be rational, who will be capable, having the knowledge in the society. It was expected from all educational institutions that we should bridge the gap between the theory and the practice, because unless and until the knowledge from lab is being transferred to the field, then the real development will be not happen. So we should act as a very kind of dynamic role, because our major strength is our students, and we can categorize those students. We can, at least if each student will spend at least 1 hour in a month, then the entire local area will be developed. At least 1 hour in a month. So based on your strength of your institute or university, then you can calculate that how many staff, how many students we have. Then accordingly you can calculate that how many hours if they will spend in the localites, the real development can be improved, can come. See, we should improve the quality of teaching and learning, and which will help us to even we can think of providing good education to the at grassroots level. We can have a kind of understanding the real problem in the society, because the rural areas, tribal areas having lots of kind of superstition, how we can bring them out from this, all these kind of things, when they're having the other health issues and all, how we can really teach them, and how we can teach them with the various kind of technology, and we should how we can you see, in the two way, we should have a kind of what exactly some of kind of key kind of principle we should have. We should have a kind of first we should sit with the localites. Then we have to find out the mutually agreed interest and the needs. And once we find out the mutually agreed interest and needs, then we can start working. And university-wide in each faculty and discipline, we have to involve. We have to make a credit-based kind of teaching to the students, because you see, recently even in our institute we started a kind of a course called value-based education. So which we are making it mandatory that every student has to attend this value-based education, this course, through that it is not a credit based right now, but we will make a credit based in the near future. But we have made it mandatory that everybody should pass this course, at least satisfactory and unsatisfactory, through that they can get the degree. Then we should, in order to, because what I told that sometimes the staff and teachers may not having much interest. So let us kind of to encourage them, let us start giving an award in the 26th January or 15th August, that the best staff, whether it is teacher or non-teaching staffs. So the best employee of the institute who has contributed to the society. So by evaluating their contribution to the society, so we can start giving an award, not only giving an award on their teaching or their work credibility to the institute. Rather, we can think about developing a competition within them, the best performer to the society, which you can give an award. Then linking with the local institution, there are lots of institutions which we can linking the learning to the community service, then linking the research with the community knowledge, because the community having lots of knowledge. So if we can see, suppose disaster management is an area, suppose agriculture is an area, the people are having very good knowledges. How we can pick up those knowledges? How, see, all of you know that when the tsunami held in the I think 2003 or I think 2003 or 4, that tsunami held, Tamil Nadu was also highly devastated. No? See, in I think when it held in 25th December or something during the time, I was
Sir,
yes.
வாங்க போம்.
Hello. When it held, she looked into that in the media. It covered that the Jarua tribes of Andaman is no more. And the next day, very next, within 1-2 days, again the same Times of India cover that almost all the Jaruas are saved. They had an indigenous knowledge, we saved them. They come to know that something mishappening is going to happen in the sea, for which they moved towards the top of the hills and they set them free. While the general public was died and they got lots of devastation. See what I'm telling that the localites, the people, the tribal, the local peoples are having lots of indigenous knowledges, which help them to sustain, to transform. And if we can document those knowledges, that will help us to do more scientific research into that. Then only we can grow ourselves. Then the research will be fast. Then the contribution to the society will be fast. Because some knowledge they have, some knowledge we have. Once we'll have a linkage, once we'll have a collaboration, then things can be moved in a different way. And see, now we are all, see, now if you look at this, most of the kind of tribal areas and rural areas, we should think about how we can go for a forest-based migrant of North Sea. Then we can, means through that we can give some value-based trainings. So I'll just give another example how we contributed. So see, suppose if you look at the tribal peoples during COVID periods, they are having serious economic crisis because the market was closed. They could not able to collect even the product from the forest. They could not able to sell because nobody was there to procure all these things. So they are the people who are more affected. So I was just having an interaction. Then immediately I found. Then some people started doing that. When we found that the mohua they usually used it for the kind of alcohol. So this is when there was a huge requirement of kind of the sanitizer in the market. Then I was interacting with my colleagues that because I used to work in NTF management, I was telling them that why not we can think of using this mohua, making the sanitizer, so that when there is a huge requirement, because all of you might have the similar experience. Even for 100 ml sanitizer, I bought even paying 500 rupees. Then later the Supreme Court, the government introduced that it should not be more than 50 rupees and all. But I also in the initial I procured 100 grams sanitizer. Though NID Raurkala also immediately after 1 month or so we produced huge sanitizer and distributed among the localites and all. And specifically we started distributing to the hospital and our chemistry department and all. But initially, we also procured 100 grams sanitizer paying 500 rupees also because of our own requirement and all. So what I'm telling, I suggested then this started that why not the mohua can be used for sanitizer making. So means we have to encourage our teachers to be a practitioner, because we should not only teach, we should be a practitioner. We should framework the kind of various distinguished course which will help. Then social innovation should be documented, and we all should follow the UGC guidelines so that we can make a course. And there are lots of areas which we have to identify and we have to work with that. Thank you. Any question and all?
Thank you very much, Ms. Raji. So nice of you that you have touched upon various aspects, and also finally said that we have to encourage the teachers to take up the responsibilities and involve them in the community engagement, and also encourage the students, how to encourage the students so that they will also be part of the society and to take care of the society. And from the anthropological point of view, you have touched upon various aspects, and I'm really happy. And also, we are grateful to you for your good lecture. And I request the participants, those who are on the line, if you would like to ask any questions. I think there are a number of people still there, and Dr. Murugesh is also there. Balamurugan sir.
Hello, Dr. Balamurugan from Annamalai University, sir.
Yeah, you would like to ask any question?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. நலமா இருக்கீங்களா?
நல்லா இருக்கு. Thank you.
Right, sir. Sir, sir, thank you very much for your kind lecture related to the community engagements and the social responsibility, institutional social responsibility to the nearby villages of higher education institutions. Nowadays, higher education institution turned upon to um, they extend the facilities, extend the knowledges to the nearby people as already carried out by the in terms in the name of lab to land program and the university at the village doorsteps. But my concern is 2000 the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan program is the one of the one of the core program of UGC to take the university or higher education institutions in a village in order to conduct some rural development activities and extension activities in villages. But then it has been changed as a social fostering the social responsibility and community engagements as the main component of 2020 order, the GO issued by the UGC to promote the village sites through the dissemination of knowledges from lab to land as a lab to land program. But my question is related to what the university has. University is ready. People also ready. In what way it is connected to nearby village? Nowadays, UGC opened through the IIT New Delhi. Opened a avenue to do the extension activities. In 5 selected villages. I think that more than 300 institutions are on the roll in extending the various extension activities under the UBA program through IIT and the Ministry of Human Resources Development. But what is the net result? The net result is not satisfied with the people, those who are working in the field of extension like us. So nobody who has experienced person are coming into in this activity to extend the knowledges to the people nearby village. It is not possible.
Balamurugan
So
sir,
what is your idea?
I think the question is very
And
clear.
what
Hello?
is the strategy and approaches
Hello?
to be followed for
Balamurugan sir,
fine tuning?
sir,
Wait a minute, sir. Please.
no, the question
For
is very
fine tuning
clear. No.
the activities
Wait.
related to extension activities or community engagement activities nearby villages in an effective manner.
Sir, I told
So, no extension department, number one. No extension department in the universities, no institutions, colleges, higher education institutions. Then no some departments not related to community engagement or social responsibility. But there are some core departments working in the universities. Certainly, on the basis of the order issued by the UGC, the extension activities they will be doing. In what way? It is not effective. It will not be effective, number one. Number two, even UGC has given so many activities in connection with the rural development in different dimensions. But UGC so far has not any recognition to the particular subject like rural development. Rural development as a even in the list of net subjects in rural development. In rural development. In rural development.
Balamurugan sir.
So doing, sir,
The
1 minute.
question was very clear.
Doing
Hello?
extension activity. They want to do extension activities through the institution to the nearest village. But they don't recognize the people, those who are doing rural development. So I am very much thankful to the opportunity given to me. Then it is not my question, it is my opinion, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You
One,
have
sir, one
raised
and
the
all.
question. Also, you have answered. So thank you very much for your question and answer. And Balamurugan sir, you have raised a good question and also answered for it. Thank you. Now, is there anybody who would like to supplement or to add anything? You are most welcome. Otherwise, we will move on to the next because the time is getting already. Would you like, Mr. Ji, would you like to interact regarding the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, what he raised, and is there any problem? What they are facing?
Sir, I have already told from the very beginning that we have to do as an authority of any university or institute who are really interested, because I told there should be 2 category or 3 category: the people who are really interested to work and the people who are having an interest to work in order to close to the authority. There are different dimension, different group of peoples. So we can give priority those people who are really having an interest to work for the people. That I have already told in the beginning.
No, sir. No, sir. I think that the people nowadays doing without the extension department, without the Department of Rural Development in the universities, the people doing like the as quoted by Robert Chambers in the book he has written a book. I think that putting the last first as a rural development book. He has written. The people going to village, taking the feast, tender water, etc., and so many things as a guest to the village. But they do never extend anything. But they are doing like this. Okay. In what way it is? I think that in what way it will be useful to the downtrodden, to the last man of the society.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your question and answer. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Nigar Ranjan Misra. We cannot live only for ourselves. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. We are very happy and fortunate to have had a worthwhile lecture which is witnessing that your in-depth field level experience in community development with the support of uh, Institute Social Responsibility. Thank you, sir. Once again, we thank you so much to Professor Nigar Ranjan Misra for your bountiful thought, and we are looking forward to have you once again with us in the near future. Now it is time to propose vote of thanks. May I have Mrs. Kalpana Kausik, Director, Indian Adult Education Association, New Delhi. And now it is time to Mrs. Kalpana Kausik.
Vanakkam. Thank you so much. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks on behalf of Indian Adult Education Association and Gandhigram Rural Institute to Professor Rajesh, Professor and Head, Department of Adult Continuing Education, University of Delhi, for his perfect presidential address. Congratulations for organizing so many programs for the left out people of the society and playing your part effectively. Coloring the whiteboard of the society is a big challenge and huge social responsibility. Thank you, sir. Thank you for doing it in a unique and wonderful way. We will surely touch the forgotten height of old and golden days of Gurukul Parampara under your able leadership. Thank you, sir. I extend my gratitude to our honorable invited speaker, Dr. Nihar Ranjan Mishra, Associate Professor, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, Odisha, to take out time from his busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you for your inspiring and encouraging. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring and encouraging inspiring and encouraging us with your words on this event. You very rightly said that institutions' social responsibility is a huge responsibility towards society, and it should be done in a way that is ethical and society friendly. You also touched the core that we all need to become a good human fast. Responsibilities and challenges can be tackled later on. ISR can involve a range of activities such as working in partnership with local communities, socially sensitive investments, developing relationship with the community in a sustainable way, imparting skills and involving communities in micro and macro activities such as personal hygiene to Swachh Bharat and cleansing the mind of people and inclining them towards creativity and like celebrating nature to environmental conservation. Probably it will enable linkages to be made between communities and with the development of wider policies and programs. The role of institutions' social responsibility in community development express values of fairness, equality, accountability, choice, participation, and continuous learning. Educating, enabling, and empowering the communities with the help of all the stakeholders. Thank you, Dr. Mishra, for your practical and useful points like life enrichment education for each and every student to grow in a right way and rural tourism, which can possibly the good way to understand the rural atmosphere, challenges, problems, and subsequently real holistic development can be realized and taken care. I must thank Professor Raja, President Indian Adult Education Association and Dean Gandhigram Rural Institute, who always picks new pertinent topics to discuss. Sir, I take this opportunity to say that you truly believe in personal social responsibility towards the people, community, and society, and you precisely understand the social responsibility, whether it is personal, institutional, or corporate. It plays an important role in community development and developing active and sustainable communities based on social justice and mutual respect. And you mentioned that community is humanity, and service of humanity is an important and huge responsibility itself. It is about influencing power structures to remove the barriers that prevents people from participating in the issues that affect their lives. Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. I would also like to thank Tamil Nadu Open University, University of Delhi for their active support and consistent collaboration. A special thanks to the dedicated organizing team behind and before the camera for their logistic support. Thank you, Dr. Venkata Ravi, Dr. Gyan Saranya, and Dr. Ramesh for making this webinar successful. Last but not the least, thank you all the participants for their active participation. Thank you everyone once again for making it a great success. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Kalpana ji,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
everyone. Kalpana
I
ji.
think that I think that kindly draw some solutions related to effective extension activities.